Hey Marvel fans, I'm Ryan Panagos, aka Agent M, and I'm so excited to be sitting here with VFX Supervisor of Marvel Studios, Avengers Endgame, Dan DeLue. How you doing, Dan?
Doing great.
So there's so much to talk about in this film. You worked 3 years on it. Let's just dive right into some stuff. You ready?
Yep, let's go.
You know, I think about this big battle. How much creative input do you have in seeing all this come together?
You know, you get kind of a rough idea of what the story needs to be. You get a rough idea from like Joe and Anthony. It's like, okay, like, you know, these are the beats we want to do. We want the compound to blow up. We want to make a crater. And, you know, and this is kind of where the dreams come true, you know, in terms of like growing up, loving comics, loving films, and then kind of getting to design these fights. You know, when you're, you know, kind of describe it as you had your little action figures you had when you were a kid, and now they're like you're grown up, you're doing the same thing, except with real people and stunties and CG characters. And you kind of sit down and start brainstorming. It's like, well, what has to happen? You know, and then it's like, you know, Cap's going to pick up Mjolnir. He's going to pick up the hammer one way or another. The last thing I do, he's picking up that hammer. Assemble.
So you get to the moment where the portals start opening up. Mm-hmm. How many layers are going on in a shot like that?
It's pretty, I mean, astronomical is kind of an easy way to describe it. We had our big days where we had everybody there. Mm-hmm. You know, you kind of see it in the big kind of masters, and when Cap says assemble, everybody's standing there, and you know, we had all the actors on set, and then depending on who we had, it's kind of dictated what would be CG and what wouldn't be. We had like a dirt floor. We had some wreckage and rubble, you know, and some of that we would replace depending on if it, you know, made it easier to light the shot or the composition would get better. But when you get into the portals opening up, you've got, you know, everybody on this side of the portals, you know, with the CG crater, CG fire, CG smoke, CG atmosphere, CG embers, CG dust, CG, you know, ash floating around. And then you've got the portals themselves, which they're their own effect simulation, complex effect simulation. And then you've got all the digis walking out. We just didn't want to make it feel like they're coming, you know, from kind of this flat space where you see the portal. You wanted it to feel like it's a dimensional space. You know, with Marvel 2, it is the shared universe. Everything's online. Everything's in the archive. So if you need to go back and get Contraxia, you just go back and get Contraxia.
That's so cool.
It's just there, right? So, and then we had kind of built portions of New Asgard, so we did portions of New Asgard. So it's like you've got everything in this world, and plus everything from all the other worlds that they're coming from. So it's you know, it's almost incalculable in terms of how much we have.
Is that everyone? But you wanted more?
We then get into the battle. You get that wonderful scene, Cap rallying everyone, he assembles everyone, charge, and you have a lot of, you know, actual physical, practical people and effects and stuff. They are charging into just a hordes of enemies, but those are all VFX, right?
Yeah, no, the before and afters in those are the best before and afters ever. In terms of just, you know, in terms of just the work that we did and just the general comedy of what was actually happening on set. So if you look at the shots, and there's the shot where we begin kind of the oneer, where you come in right when Giant Man punches the Leviathan. But when you're zooming in on that, you've got all the heroes running forward, and you've got your actors there, and then there's maybe like 6 guys in motion capture suits running at them. Again, just to kind of let all the actors know generally where the eye line is for the approaching aliens. But yeah, those Thanos' army was kind of weak in that version of the show.
He just came with 6.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's sometimes the befores are just some of the oddly crude things, but it was something that, yeah, it worked. It got him there. It was like, you know, we were hooking it up. We had the kind of the big shot where you kind of went into the live action of everybody together. Then you come up into the air to see Giant Man punch the Leviathan, you go back to CG, and then you come back down again on Panther and Okoye and Shuri, and that was shot as a separate little piece on their set. And then as you pan left, you got a little bit of a CG Drax coming in that pulls you from that lands into the live action Dave Bautista that goes on this kind of, I don't know, large punching bag thing.
Yeah.
Stunt guys hanging all over it, trying to make sure Dave didn't fall off of it.
Yeah. And then there's, you know, the guy in the mocap suit for Korg, which is just all of it. It's this elegant ballet, and it's really neat. All right, last but not least, we have to talk about one of the moments that made crowds roar, that gives you all the biggest feels. It's when we see all the women of Marvel come together, they're on the battlefield. How much of that was filmed practically? How much was added in? And how do you bring that all together?
Well, we had everyone there. It's like there was like about 2 or 3 weeks where everybody's there. You've got every Avenger from every movie that we've done all on set at the same time. And so, I mean, it was a great day to go to set because it's like, whoa, there's Pepper, there's Koye, there's Valkyrie, there's like, all these, all the characters you love are actually there on set. So when they all come together, the idea of having this kind of passing of the torch, passing the gauntlet, there's a lot of symbolism going on. But then it was also something that it was kind of special to do to bring all the women of Marvel together. So when we shot it, you had everybody there. Valkyrie we put in later as a different element because she was in the back of the Pegasus.
You didn't have a practical Pegasus for this.
We tried, but again, that's probably like 3 years out. Cloning's 2 years out, 3. It's like, but anyway, she's landing in the back. So for the most part, we had everybody there, and so we went ahead and shot them. You pull them, you'll add, Pepper's armor later. You'll have, Hope comes in as the Wasp and grows. So you'll actually have Evangeline there, kind of walking, in the shot, and then you just kind of paint her out, and then just kind of, have the Wasp grow into her size.
I was sitting in a crowd opening night, and I watched a kid in front of me jump up out of his chair, arms up in the air, scream. Everybody's like crying and laughing and cheering. How much fun is it for you guys to put all this together and to see it work?
I think it's the best part. It's the, we're all fans too, right? So then, there's all these moments that you want to see, and for us, it's something that, you see it in previs, and you're kind of like, okay, that's really cool. It's gonna be really great. And so you see all these scenes and pieces, and you see them kind of come together in editorial. And I remember the first time, we kind of cut the portals together, and Jeff Ford called me and he said, take a look, and it's like, get a little tear in the corner of your eye, and then you're kind of like, this is great, this is gonna work. And you kind of, and part of the fun is then going in to see with the real audience and kind of see, okay, is this gonna work? And then so you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, this really works. You go opening weekend and people are just going nuts over it. And it's like, I think that's the best part, the most rewarding part, that everybody loved what we did, which is great.
Dan, thanks so much for sharing so much about Marvel Studios' Avengers Endgame. You guys, make sure you pick up the film now.